Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we're doing another pick a card. Today's pick a card is messages from your spirit guides, but I wanted to focus it on the last 4 months of 2023 and any guidance spirit have in regards to those final 4 months, anything that you could set in motion, or just any guidance that you may need to hear. Apologies for the noise outside. It literally only started the minute I started filming. I think somebody's having a conversation in the street and the dog's joining in. But yeah, so I want to just bring any guidance that can come through for the rest of 2023. So I have 3 piles for you guys to choose from. Pile number 1 is the amethyst tree. Pile number 2 is the shell. And pile number 3 is the smoky quartz. So see which crystal you are drawn to. The timestamps are going to be in the description box as usual, and I will see you guys at your timestamp. Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what messages and guidance your spirit team have for you. So you guys chose the amethyst tree. I'm going to start with tarot and then we're going to move in to the oracle cards. The reason I wanted to do this was because over the next 4 months, especially as we go into the autumn seasons and into like the winter, there's going to be naturally a lot of shifts, a lot of releasing. It's a time where we are letting go. So I really wanted to bring guidance there in regards to what to focus on, if there's any roadblocks, how you can work over them, and just anything spirit really want to bring through. So I'm gonna get straight in. So pile number 1, please, spirit guides, what guidance? Pile number 1, tap me into the collective of my pile number 1s. There is a strong message for you guys to flow like water, because I almost feel like your inner currents are guiding you over this next 4 months. Pile number 1. We have the 2 of Pentacles. Pile number 1. I keep being shown someone like I'm about to run, but I'm kneeling down and tying my lace. Like I want to run really, really fast, but something keeps stopping me. And what I don't realize is my shoelace is untied. And if I would have run when I wanted to run, I would have tripped over. Whereas what I'm being shown over the next 4 months is like you realizing, oh, that's why I couldn't jump forward. That's why I couldn't. And then it's like leaning down to tie the lace to set off and run. I hope that makes sense. So there could be something that you've been recently wanting to start up or try. You could have been trying to start a career move or make a business move or look for a home, and like things just weren't flowing the way that you wanted them to. But that's where spirit's like everything was, not that you were being blocked from anything, it was almost like there was almost a pause moment. I'm being shown the Hanged Man in tarot, for something to be set. It's almost like we can't run yet, it hasn't been set up. We can't start the play yet, the props aren't here. So it's almost like something was put on hold while you were focusing on something else, whereas now it's time to focus on that thing. And I feel like it's something in the physical, because it's like I'm leaning down and I'm tying my lace to make sure that everything's tied together for me to head towards something. But it's something that you would have tried to start and got frustrated with because it didn't start, and that could pertain to anything. We'll probably get more details as we go into the reading, but I almost feel like maybe in this area of your life you may have felt like you were out of control or things weren't flowing the right way, because that's what I'm picking with the 2 of Pentacles. It could even be in regards to finances, like finances weren't aligning with you properly, or maybe you weren't so much in your physical body and there were certain physical tasks that you weren't getting done. I see there's like that switch where you are going to be focused on that, and there's going to be a strong focus there. I feel like the next 4 months for you guys, like September through to December, I feel like they are going to be very focused on the material world or the physical world and making moves there. And I think that it's going to happen naturally. I think maybe a time you would have tried to start that prior, it's almost like it wasn't ready, it hadn't set yet, it was like a cake that was still gooey, we have to wait for it to cook. So there was something that needed to solidify, that you were going to be stepping on to over the next 4 months. So pile number, we have the Chariot. It's kind of like when we think of you guys choosing the tree as well, like sometimes when you grow things, like for example I have tomatoes, whereas like when I'm growing the tomatoes, when they're green and they're not ripe, they haven't turned orange or like red yet, I'm not going to pick them yet. Even though I want to have like the tomatoes, I can't have them yet, I've got to wait. So it's almost like there was something maybe you were trying to bring into the physical, but you were still growing in a particular area. There was something still kind of manifesting into the physical. There was something that you were still aligning with, that you just didn't see at the time, which would have caused maybe a frustration. Pile number, I know a lot of you guys do inner work, so it could have been that you were working on your inner world before you manifested something into the physical. There was something that you were aligning with, something needed to come up. We have the Knight of Pentacles as well. We get one more card. Pile number 1, messages for my pile number 1s. And we have the Empress, love that. And the back of the deck we have the Queen of Wands. Let me show you. That looks like my cat Vader, I just have to say, the cat on there looks like Vader. Okay, so let's make sure that focuses so you can see the cards. 2 of Pentacles, the Chariot, the Knight of Pentacles, the Empress. Yeah, I see you. The focus over the next 4 months is in the physical. The focus over the next 4 months is very much to move like a Taurus, because sometimes we can focus on the physical and be in a very masculine energy where we may be like pelting forward, rushing forward. But this energy is different, because I keep being told for you guys to listen to your internal compass and make moves in a slow way, like bring things into the physical in a slow way. I keep being shown somebody with a list and taking things off a list, but there's this feeling of you're gonna know where to put your energy and where to, because there's a strong sense of spirit here. I just feel like you're gonna know where to put your energy and when to maybe use an influx of your energy and rush forward, when to maybe sit still. There's this feeling of moving slow though, because I almost feel like whatever it is that you're going to be focusing over the next 4 months is divinely protected, and it's like divinely being ushered in. And I keep being shown like little breadcrumbs and you guys getting like little intuitive nudges. What I'm actually being shown is, you know, in the movie Brave, and Meredith, I think it's Meredith or Merida, she follows these little nymphs into the forest. I almost feel like you're getting little intuitive nudges to bring something into the physical. And with the Knight of Pentacles, it's really marked for you to really move slow and trust your intuition. The guidance here is to not make any hasty decisions over the next 4 months, because there's something very much tied to money and where you're, and when I just say money, it's also like your energy, like making sure your boundaries are tight and making sure that you're putting your money into things that are worthwhile, because I keep being shown, I don't know why I'm being shown the number 8, so obviously the 4 months would be September to December, so then the next 4 months would be to like April of next year, which is like the new astrological year. So I almost feel like there's this focus of tying things and putting things into order and putting things into place, because there's going to be a harvest. Like I'm being shown the full moon, there's going to be a harvest, there's going to be something of substance around that area and that time period, and I think maybe the 8 representing like April time next year, that's like spring, that's like a new energy. So I keep being shown a really, really strong focus on making moves in the physical and keeping low. Like I'm being shown like even on social media or being at events, it's almost like I'm being very careful what I'm posting, I'm being very careful where I'm going, I'm being very careful who's coming into my life, I'm being very careful who has access to my energy, because it's needed to go here, it's needed to go here, and I'm pouring into myself as I go, because with the Empress card, it's like I'm nurturing myself and I'm nourishing myself, so that when I do put my energy into things, it's of substance. I feel like a lot of you are prepping to either make a very big physical move, like get a house, or build up a business, or that there's something like career, your career or your hobbies. I feel very physically focused. It could be that you're starting the gym and you're starting a fitness journey, because there's a reference of not focusing too much on results and just the process in that moment. What have I got to do today? You know, when you start in the gym and you want to see a shift, you want to see like a difference, if you want to see that difference in the first week, you're going to get disheartened and maybe give up. And that's what I'm being shown, to put it in those perspectives, because it's almost like focusing on what I've got to do today, focus on what I've got to do this week, and then all of a sudden that all piles up and it brings something into the physical. I'm also being told for you guys as well, when I'm looking at the Chariot card here, because there's such a strong focus on the physical, I know a lot of you guys in my collective are very connected to spirit, and I do feel like maybe the way you connect to spirit is going to shift, but it doesn't mean that you're losing your gifts. It doesn't mean that there's like a disconnect. It means that you're adapting to how you bring messages through and how you follow your intuition, because there's usually a time and a place where we need to grow something, water something, and build it. And I almost do feel like for you guys, for there to have been less of a focus on the physical, I feel like maybe you guys have been building your gifts. I feel like maybe you guys have been like, you know, when you're in the gym and you work the muscles, I feel like you've been doing that with your higher chakras. I feel like you've been very open to spirit, or you could have just been internally just very, very focused on shifting your energy like that, and maybe moving through life in a more energetic way. But this next 4 months, there's a strong focus on the physical body and making moves in the physical. So the way that the messages are going to be coming through, it's not that you're cut off, it's not that you're losing any gifts, especially if you feel like there's a rigidness there. There's a change in the water in the way that these gifts are going to come through and the way that they're going to pass through. That's going to be more physical, and I'm even being shown spirit giving you a lot more messages and gifts that come in the physical. So sending you maybe like animals or insects, playing songs for you, maybe people just popping up to you and handing you something that you might need, or you may find that you find over the next 4 months, or even the next 8 months, because I always want to say 8 months, like I want to say little helpers, and by that I mean you're just being put on the path for people that could easily guide or aid you in some sort of way, or hand you something that is of substance for your journey, even if it doesn't look like it in the moment. So I would definitely say to pay attention, because spirit's almost showing up in the physical. It's almost like I'm being given literal breadcrumbs in my hand that are guiding me somewhere. Like there's something very serendipitous, but it may not seem like it in the moment. So I would say as well, if you guys get over the next 4 to 8 months certain invitations to go places, certain offers to go somewhere, you have to take a different turn, or something comes onto your path and you're like, what's this about? I would say to really listen, because I almost feel like there's a lot transpiring in the physical. It's like I'm being shown your main path, which is taking a minute for it to solidify, and then there's loads of like little lines kind of going through it that are kind of guiding you where you need to go. It's actually quite interesting. Yeah, so I want to pull some oracle cards and get deeper for you guys, because with the Queen of Wands being at the back of the deck, I almost feel like there's a drive, there's a passion, there's something for a lot of you guys that you have in mind that you wanted to implement and put into focus, and you may have been feeling like maybe it's not for me, and it is for you, but right now is where the shifts are taking place. But those shifts take place in the present, you know, those shifts take place now. And little by little, you have what it is of substance, because it's almost like I don't have any of it, and I'm looking at it like a star in the sky that isn't possible. But this next 4 months, it's like slowly building. I always like to use the analogy of like building the stairs up to like where you want to go, but it's like you have to put like the first slab down first, then the second. You don't just jump to the top. So that's what I'm being shown, like you put in the bricks down. And you may feel over the next 4 to 8 months, sometimes you may feel a little stagnant, or you may feel like everything's kind of the same, or I'm just physically doing the same thing. You may not be able to see the path in front of you, but this next 4 months is such a strong urge in the physical, because you're building something, you're building a pathway somewhere, and it may feel like it's going slow, but it's taking you where you need to go. It's like when you plant the seed and then it starts to water, it takes its time, and everything's moving the way it's supposed to, I'm being told. That's why we have the Knight of Pentacles here, because it's like I'm taking my time, and Spirit really wants you to observe a lot. Observe how you're feeling, observe where you want to go, why you want to head there. I feel like Spirit's going to be giving you little downloads and nudges. You're being called to listen to those and just really be aware, because even when like forks come in the road, there's a reason for it, and that's why you're being called to observe, like, what is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? And with the Empress card, again, that's where I'm being called for you guys to be in that energy of receiving and really listening, and knowing when to rush forward, knowing when to pause, knowing when, you know, to not spend your money on that thing. Do I really need that? Because I'm putting my money towards something else. There's a strong focus of that. I want to get deeper though, because Spirit's very matter of fact with this reading. I'm not getting like any extras. I feel like that may be how you're feeling over the next 4 months. Like, I'm not getting too much. It's just like I'm focusing on this and that's it, and it's because you're meant to be focusing on that. You know, you're meant to be just saving the money. You're meant to be just putting creative ideas down and buying what it is you need to set that up. You could be pulling your energy right back and pouring into you. You could be going to the gym and physically working in that way. And it's just very matter of fact. And then it's like, what about, because I almost feel in this reading like, but I want to pull more, because I feel like there's more spiritual messages that could come through, or there's something more higher. But I feel like that's more representing the energy you may feel in, like, there's almost this feeling a little bit of where's the magic gone, but it's like, this is the answer. This is where the magic takes place. This is where you're bringing it into the physical. This is where you're bringing and harnessing that energy through. The magic hasn't gone. This is the focus right now. This is where your focus needs to go. You want to change, and this is where the physical side of it comes in. And it may be like a stark contrast to how you may have been, where you may have just been channeling a lot or being in another realm. Pile number 1, please, Spirit Guides. Guidance from pile number 1, Spirit Guides. We have Archangel Raphael. The healing angel is with you, supporting your healing work. Pile number 1, please, Spirit Guides. Messages from pile number. We have your chakras. Notice messages that appear as sounds, music, and words from both external sources and within your mind. These messages are real answers to your prayers. We got the other card that dropped. We have emotional sensitivity. Honor and respect your deep sensitivity, as it is a gift to all. In the back of the deck, you have heal away addictions. It's time to let go of behaviors that are blocking you from your heart's desire. Ask Archangel Raphael to help you with this healing. When you were, because for a lot of you, you've either been in a shadow phase or a downloading stage. When you were in that focus, and I almost feel like something must have been clearing for you to be bringing something in, because it's like you're opening up to bring something in and laying those foundations. You'd only be doing that if there was some sort of release or letting go. And with heal away addictions, because like right at the back, there's how do I put this into words? Whatever it was that was in the tracks that was stopping you from moving forward, I almost feel like with certain coping mechanisms that you may have had to adapt to, or certain coping mechanisms that are addictions that came up as you might have been releasing or doing internal work in that way. And that's okay. And I feel like that's where you're being brought really into the physical to observe as you're moving into this next 4 months and then onto the 8 months, because there's something that you're building or doing. You're being called to observe feelings that come up that may make you want to procrastinate, or may make you want to just escape to another realm to feel safe. Because it's like, a lot of the times those sort of behaviors, they can protect us. We usually adapt them to protect us, but there's a feeling that's urging us to go into them. There's a feeling that's urging us to maybe go on escape, or, you know, focus on anything else than what it is we're meant to be doing. And that's where you're being really called to observe. And I feel like Spirit's almost helping and guiding you through something. So there could be something that you've been doing that hasn't been the most healthiest for you, and I see that you being focused on the physical and making moves, I feel like that's going to have you look at it in a different way. And I feel like that's almost going to be targeted to help you kind of release the constraints that were holding you in place and tied to that. But you're being called to really observe what's making you feel like sometimes you need to do that. And that's where I feel Spirit is coming in to guide you there with Heal Away Addictions. And then the Archangel Raphael, the healing angel, is with you supporting your healing work. I feel like that's where you're being called to really listen, because I feel like Spirit's going to be really guiding you. And maybe, because I see, even though the focus is most on the physical and action, there's little sprouts where I keep being shown like little dips, and it's like a burst of energy, meaning there's going to be like a quick purge, like there's going to be something that I'm coming to realize and something that I'm focusing on as I'm maybe back in the physical body and focusing on the physical body, or back in the physical world and focusing on that. And it could be insecurities that come up, it could be feelings of maybe not feeling safe and wanting to escape there, it could be feelings of feeling uncomfortable in the physical world. And that's where you're being called to listen, because it's like your body's showing you where there's maybe clogged energy of you know, feeling an energy of fear, feeling an energy of insecurity, and it's coming up to the surface, which you might not have been aware of, and it may have been using the more avoidant energy to not look at it because you weren't ready. Whereas Spirit's going to be working with you clearing that, so that you can take out that hindrance and really move forward without anything coming up into your face. So that's another thing coming through. And with emotional sensitivity, I do feel that naturally you guys are quite clairsentient and quite open to energy anyway. And I feel like you're also going to be learning over this next 4 to 8 months how to really put boundaries with other people, but also boundaries internally, maybe boundaries with Spirit. And when you, because with that energy and the emotional sensitivity, I'm thinking of somebody that picks up the energies and moods of other people. So it's knowing when to have that internal boundary and knowing when to be like, that person's in a mood, but that's not my responsibility and I don't need to take it on. And really being aware of that in the physical and being like, I know that I can feel that that person's feeling frustrated and they're taking it out on people around them, but I don't have to always be switched on and taking on everybody else's emotions because I'm going to be drained. So there's something about that you guys are going to be getting to grips with and learning and working through over the next 4 months as well. I do feel like with the year chakras, Spirit's going to be sending you, because I when I was saying that Spirit will be showing up in the physical, I was being shown somebody in a car and a song comes on the radio. So I would be very aware of like what songs start to play, what songs you're gravitating to. I think Spirit's going to be giving you guidance through music over the next 4 months. I feel like that's going to be where Spirit's going to bring through messages. And even just like watching TV and like little sounds come on or little sayings creep up, or you watch a movie and it's like that movie inspires you in a certain way and there was a reason you were drawn to it. I almost feel like that's going to be the way Spirit's communicating with you, because I also think it's going to activate a level of inspiration that's going to have you keep going over the next 4 months. Yeah, so let's pull your final card. Pile number 1. Messages and guidance for my pile number 1s over the next 4 months. It's very like short and sweet. The back of the deck we have transformation. So there's a shift taking place, and I feel like you're being called into the physical to make, it's almost like energetically you are being aligned with it and set in the path. you know, setting the stones, whereas now you're physically walking on the layer that you just created energetically and grafting on that layer energetically to physically make those moves and physically making those shifts. And even though you may feel a little bit stagnant or everything's the same, or, you know, where's the magic on, everything's just very focused on the physical, it's that needed shift and focus there that's going to be part of that transformational energy. Yeah, I think it's all coming together. There's this feeling of like it's happening, it's all coming together. And I think you've been expanding internally, because we have the expansion card at the back. I think you've been expanding internally, and now you're listening to that call to expand physically and work physically so that your external reality matches your internal reality. And I think it was always meant to go that way, and I think now you're feeling that call. So pile number 1, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pile 2, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance your spirit guides have for you over the next 4 months. And I really wanted to focus over guidance over the next 4 months because I know we're going into you know, a more healing period, you know, a period where we tend to release layers, hibernate, clear over the end of the year, the next 4 months. And I know in the northern hemisphere it's like autumn, fall, and there's such a shift there. So I really wanted to bring guidance through for that. So you guys chose the shell. Now what was interesting about when I put the shell down and I was opening up to you guys, I was called to look at the shell. And when I was looking at the shell, I was looking at the lines here and how the middle kind of looks like a star. And whenever spirit showed me like the creation of life, the creation of universe, and how it manifests into the physical, you can see the creation of the universe through what grows on earth. You can see the pattern in flowers, you can see the pattern in, you know, like starfish and anything that's really growing. It kind of sprouts out into this, it's like a flower pattern, you know what I mean? It's like a bud, and then it kind of opens up and it has different layers, and then from that it grows again and again and again. And that's, you know, when you have like the seed and it grows into the flower, and then the flower drops the seed, and it goes on and on. So I was being shown that, so I felt like you guys were going to be aligning with another frequency, but to align with another frequency there has to be the death of another one. And the death isn't the scary word, death is alchemization. And I was being shown the scene from Encanto where the grandmother, she cries in grief because obviously she loses her husband, but that grief, it creates this magic in this candle, which creates this really big house, and it's like a magic house, and all the kids that she has then have like a gift. If you've watched Encanto, you know what I'm talking about. They're all given a gift, and it came from her heart space. So I do feel for you guys more than most. I think that you're going to be really feeling, especially when we get into fall, autumn, and there's that release. I feel like you're going to be feeling that more than most. And I think that there may be some purging that comes up over the next 4 months, but that's why I was being shown the grandmother when she grieves and then newness comes, because it's like I'm purging, I'm clearing something that's still stagnant, but it's creating a new paradigm, it's creating something new. So that's what I wanted to reference straight away, because that's what came through. So pile number 2, please, spirit guides, pile number 2. What's to come for my pile number 2s over the next 4 months, and what guidance does spirit have? We have the High Priestess. Guidance for my pile number 2s over the next 4 months. What guidance do they need to hear, spirit guides? We have the Sun. Pile number 2, please, spirit guides. What messages and guidance do pile number 2 spirit guides have for them over the next 2 months? We have the World. And we have the Wheel. I'm hearing no need for searching. thank you next song. The back of the deck, we have Temperance. At the back of the deck, this next 4 months, you're going to be very internally centered, and I think you're going to be very, it's interesting because when I think of aligning with something coming to fruition and me realizing something, looking at something from a higher perspective and coming to that understanding, I usually think of spring, but I almost feel like that's going to happen for you over the next 4 months. I think maybe the first 2 months, there's something that may come up. So I'm thinking like September, October time. There's something that may come up for you to purge and move through. I see you so beautifully listening to it because I feel like you're quite a bit of an expertise in this area. Like I feel like you guys know how to purge, you know how to clear, and you know how to just like feel into it, not hold on to it and let it release, because I see you doing that beautifully, and I don't feel like I need to give you much guidance in that area because I see that it's like an ocean kind of moving. I see that water being moved. You're aware that if it's moving and it's coming to the surface, it's because it's clearing. I see you honoring it. I see you really beautifully holding space for yourself and allowing that clearing to come through. And I also think that you're going to be getting a lot of intuitive nudges from spirit, and a lot of guidance from spirit as you are clearing, because I see spirit really working through it. And I even see, because there's something that I could easily look at and be like, oh, that's something dark coming up, or that's something really heavy coming up, or that's like something painful coming up. You're doing it with light. Like there's so much light with you. And it's almost like, oh my God, I can't believe this is coming up. If it's coming up, it means that I'm letting go of it. I can't believe this is coming up. And I see you guys making room for it, making space for it. And there's this love. It's making me, I keep being shown somebody with a heart space. And it's like, as I'm grieving, I'm becoming empowered. Like, as I'm releasing, I'm being topped up. I can feel this energy moving through me, but I also feel myself being topped up at the same time, because I keep being shown somebody crying and then laughing like, oh my God, it's coming out, or having like a really big realization, like crying and being frustrated and then be like, oh my God, something's just clicked, and then laughing, and it's like this joyous feeling, and I feel like jolted up, and I feel like it's that last kind of trinkle or that last bit of debris that needs to come up, that's almost going to have you look at something like, that's why it had to go that way. Because with the World card, it's like this thing that's being moved emotionally, it's ending the cycle, because there's something you may have been going round in circles with, or looking over, wishing you did differently. Why couldn't I have done it this way? Why couldn't I have done it that way? There's something that you've almost kind of been stuck in, that's been holding you to a paradigm. It's like that final anchor. And I feel like that emotional purge, I think it's like literally you cutting free of that, and it's like, oh, that cycle's that cycle's over. And once that cycle's over, it's like, that's why I was being shown under, because I'm being shown a vision of like the anchors below me, all of the ropes that I've cut free are below me, and now I'm just floating upwards. I'm literally floating upwards. And with the Wheel of Fortune, it's like now things are starting to move. And I keep being shown Christmas time, funnily enough, which is like a winter period. I'm being shown, well, winter period in the northern hemisphere, but I'm being shown Christmas time. Like, I feel like there's like a new lease of life. I feel very fresh. And it's almost like I was running on the treadmill because someone was dangling something in front of me for so long, and then I was getting frustrated because I was realizing I don't want to be on this treadmill, and then all of a sudden it was like, I can get off. I don't need to run on this treadmill. And they're dangling this donut in front of my face. I can go get my own donut. Like, why am I still on this treadmill? Like, I'm not even, why am I here? And it's like I jump off, and then it's almost like I'm laughing while I was just crying, because it's like I only had to jump off the treadmill. I only needed to realize I didn't even want the donut in the first place. I only needed to realize there was much better desserts out there. Like, I only needed to realize that. And there's a laughter that comes through, and like a joyous feeling that comes through. And I just see, I don't know why, but Christmas time, December time is like a really, really big focus. Like December, January, there's like a focus and a lot of light there, and a lot of energy there, and a lot of movement and shifts there, which is really beautiful. And I keep being shown somebody closing a door. Do you remember Fifth Harmony? I remember watching a video, and I think it was like the last song that they did, and then they all left the room and shut the door, and that was them like dramatically saying you know, the group's over, we're done, we're going solo. That's what I'm being shown. Like the door shutting and it's like I'm walking away. So there's an era that you're kind of like put into bed, or there's something that you were still stuck going in cycles with that was holding you on to an old frequency that is being put to bed. And I would say to really, with the Temperance card at the back of the deck, don't push yourself too much or push anything to come up, because it's going to come up naturally. I think this next 4 months, I want to say 3 though, like I kind of want to say from like, I know time doesn't exist and it can shift, but I feel like September to November, like I do see a lot of you guys would be in hermit mode, listening to self, journaling. I'm being shown journaling and just listening to what comes up. And Spirit's not giving me an indicator of what it is that's going to come up, because it's going to, one, it's probably because it's going to be different for all of you, but two, I think some things need to emerge on their own for you guys. Like I feel like you're so in tune with your internal world anyway, you'll know when it comes up. But I would, just to give a pointer, I feel like it's related to somebody else. And with the Sun card, it could even be you maybe putting your worth in somebody else, or maybe waiting for somebody else to become what you want them to be, or maybe waiting for an apology, or there's something along those lines, because there's like frustration which is being purged. And I see something happening, that either something's gonna happen to trigger it to be like, oh, I had this wound and I didn't realize it was still there, but now I get it, now I understand and I'm moving past it. Or it's just naturally going to be moved within you, like your inner child is like, okay, now we can focus on this, now this can come up, and that naturally takes you somewhere else. And I see maybe in the past, because I don't see it now, I feel like you're very, the way you're coming through to me is very Empress energy. Like I'm not even trying to I'm not even worrying about what's to come. It's just a case of what will be. I feel very connected to Spirit when I tap into you, but I feel like maybe in the past you may have been frustrated of like, maybe why isn't a relationship coming in, or why isn't that career move happening, why isn't this happening? And I almost feel like that's directly linked to what it is that you have an epiphany of an idea, because it's almost like you may say, now you watch a love reading and it's like, oh, you're going to be focusing on self, and you're like, why is it always telling me I'm going to be focusing on self? I'm frustrated. But it was because there was a frequency that you were in. And I see something happening where it's like, oh my god, all it took was that coming out for me to just shift to this frequency. And then you're gonna realize, because then it's like I'm watching maybe like a pick a card or something, and then it's like, oh, like love's coming in, or you just meet someone and it's like, I literally just, it was that, all it was that. All I had to do was jump off the treadmill. All I had to do was realize this. But there's something you need to realize on your own for that to come through, because it's something connected to somebody else. But I feel like once and for all, it's like, boom, it's out. It's over. I've closed the cycle. And it was just that. It was that one thing. And I was getting frustrated for a really long time. And I almost want to barely laugh, like joyously laugh. Like that's all it was that I was holding on to. Let's pull some more cards. So pile 2. Guidance for pile number 2 over the next 4 months. We have your chakras. Notice messages that appear as sounds, music, and words from both external sources and within your mind. These messages are real answers to your prayers. Let's pull another 2 and then I'll channel them. Pile number 2, please, Spirit guides. What guidance do my pile number 2s need to hear? What guidance do pile number 2s, Spirit guides, have for them? Listen to your intuitive feelings. Your body is receiving accurate messages from the divine. Yeah. I feel like you're very in tune with Spirit and your emotions and internal world. Be willing to forgive. Ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. I've noticed I've been listening to Taylor Swift a bit. So Spirit's been giving me some Taylor Swift songs, which is great because she has cool lyrics. And I'm hearing the song I Forgot You Existed by Taylor Swift. And she sings, it isn't love, it isn't hate, it's just indifference. And And she talks about how she was sick, you know, she was stuck on someone or something, or angry at someone or something for some time, but she's now forgot it existed. It doesn't even matter. And it's just like a really chill, like, oh, it's over, like, sort of thing. That's what I got when I saw that card. The back of the deck, we have Power Animal. Your animal spirit guide is a guardian to you and is helping you with a situation. I feel like some of you guys have a pet in spirit. If you don't have a pet in spirit, it could be in physical that is helping you transmute and has been helping you transmute. Especially if maybe, yeah, I see an animal almost in spirit helping you transmute or clear, and like an animal in spirit that's like a spirit guide helping you clear. They could have helped you clear when they were in the physical, and it's like, oh, that didn't stop, by the way. I'm still helping you here. In, you know, in the other realms, I'm still kind of helping you clear, because there's something about like an animal coming through. Or it could be that you just have a power animal with you, an animal totem with you that helps you clear. I keep being shown a dove at a window, and it's like pecking at a window. So yeah, there could be an animal that's you. I say that as Jasper walks in. I say that as Jasper turns up. Hi Jaspy. Hi, how's a boy? What's funny is Jasper actually transmutes a lot of energy. Whenever I'm finished working and filming, he will go into my workroom and cleanse it down for me. He always heads in there, or he sits outside and he just sits on the table, and I have to clean his little paws off because he just sits on the table and cleanses down afterwards, which is quite cute. So it's funny he's here when I said that. But yeah, you may have like just a power animal that you see maybe in dreams, or when you meditate or journey, it's with you. That could be helping you, because I feel like you guys are quite connected to the animal kingdom, to be honest with you. But with your chakras and listen to your intuitive feelings, I think that's just more so of a strong indicator of your internal world and your emotional body. I keep wanting to say you're a pro, like you've done a lot of shadow work, you know how this goes. Like I almost feel like I'm telling you, but you already know, like it's going to come up, it's going to be being moved. Listen to it, listen to the feeling, hold on to it, allow it to come up, because I feel like you're already super connected to spirit anyway, and I feel like spirit's going to be around you very strong, because it's like a proper purge and clearing that's moving and shifting that paradigm. That's why spirit's with you quite strong. And if what it is that you're clearing was inflicted by maybe like a parent or someone like that, I see their energy and spirit helping you move it. Even if they are still on the physical plane, I see their higher self kind of, and ancestors as well, helping you clear something or work through something, whatever it is that's coming through. But it's a realization where I'm like, oh my god, I need to get off the treadmill. I don't even want the donut anyway. Didn't even want it. Never wanted it. You were trying to convince me that I needed the donut, so I was running on the treadmill, but I wasn't even moving anywhere, and I don't need to be here. Like, let me get off. That's kind of what it is. It's like an epiphany once you purge that brings you to this realization. And when I say forgiveness with this, be willing to forgive, there may be somebody in your life right now that you feel very angry with, frustrated with, or there may be a scenario or a situation where you're dealing with a much needed release of anger and frustration, because maybe in the past you might have self-sacrificed and not learned to have love for yourself first, so you allowed people to treat you a certain way. So you may be dealing with a frustration or an anger of like, I can't believe you treated me like that, or I can't believe you decided to treat me like that, and there's a frustration and an anger. I see you sitting in it in a good way. Like I see you really feeling into it, and I think that's such a beautiful expression of self-love, the way you're doing that. But I feel like something's going to be purged where it's like a much needed cooling effect and release to activate that level of forgiveness, or just that level of peace that you get when you let go of something, and that brings you to that next phase. December's going to be busy. I keep wanting to say that December's going to be fast and busy. Or it could be energetically around you, things are going to be busy, because it's almost like timelines being shifted, because you've moved, you've unanchored yourself, you're rising to the surface. I feel like the beginning of next year is going to be lots of shifts, changes, like a whirlwind, but in a good way. I think you'll be flowing with them. I think there's going to be much needed movement. New characters. Jasper's come to say hello. This is Jasper's debut. Guys, this is Jasper's never debuted on this channel before. Say hi, Jasper. Jasper's never... Come here, say hi. Oh, he's jumped down. That was Jasper's... He's come up here. That was Jasper's debut. He's never debuted before. You're a star, Jasper. You're a star. Yay. I always wondered when he'd finally show up, so I feel very honoured because I've had him for almost 2 years now and he's never ever come into a reading, and I thought, I wonder when he'll show up. I wonder when he'll make a debut, because the rest of them have. Pile number... you know what it is with Jasper jumping on the table as well? If you're not in a relationship, or you've not had friendships around you and you've been like, when am I gonna get that? Like, when am I gonna have a relationship? And it's like a frustrate, like you've had I don't feel you frustrated now, but I feel in the past you would get frustrated, like, how does everyone have that and I don't? Or how does everyone have all these friends around them and I don't? And like, why do I always feel like I'm stalling and I'm still and I'm in this cocoon? Why? Like, why is that happening? And so I was like, I wonder when that's actually going to come in then. I wonder what it is that's causing that to not be around me right now. And I feel like there's going to be an answer to that over the next 4 months. But whatever it is, you're almost going to laugh at. Like, oh my God, I just needed to realize that. Oh my God, I just needed to understand that. Oh my God, like there's something like, oh wow. You know? Because that's correlated with Jasper, because I always used to think, when's Jasper going to show up? When's he going to come and say hi? When's he going to debut? And it's like at the least, it's like something just comes in, like boom. Pile number 2. Because I see you doing something differently, because even with Jasper coming here too, for a while he was not letting me pick him up, and I always looked at him as like this cute little helpless little baby boy. And my mother and my sister, when they see Jasper, they don't look at him like that. They see him like really cool, and they're like, maybe it's because he can pick up that you see him as just like really cute and he's not that way, and he feels like a bit disrespected by that. So I stopped trying to pick him up and everything, and I just kind of fell back, and I was like starting to look at him in a different way, and I was like, Jasper, you're a cool cat, you're really cool. And recently he's been coming up to me for cuddles and wanting to be around me a lot, and it was like that shift in the way I looked at him somehow has had him wanting to be around me a lot. It's almost like now you're looking at me the way I'm supposed to be looked at, and I know that sounds really silly, but now he's around me a lot. So there's something that the way you were looking at something, or the way that you were approaching something, there's like a shift in dynamic. There's a way you're looking at it that's different, and then it's like, oh, now it's coming in, now it pops in, and then it's almost like I'm laughing at it, like that was so simple. I know it sounds really weird, but I felt called to say that. Pile number 2. Because it's like that shift in dynamic on the treadmill. I don't even want the donut. Why was I running for? Let me get off the treadmill. I don't even want it. And then it's like, I wanted something savory, and then you're laughing because it's like, why was I crying on the treadmill when I could have just got off? I didn't even want the donut. Pile number 2. Final cards from pile number 2's spirit guides. Pile number 2, final cards from pile number 2's spirit guides. Oh, wow. I feel like it's connected to like love and relationship or friendship, bringing someone in, because the back of the deck we have soulmating. Yeah. That's quite interesting. I think something may have been keeping you isolated or in a cocoon, to the point that where I feel you now, you feel very present, and it's like, I'm happy in the cocoon. I don't even want anyone anymore. I don't even care. I'm just gonna move by myself. Something comes up to purge, over the next couple of months that has you look at it in a different way, look at the way you're approaching love in a different way, or looking at something in a different way, and then you're like, oh my god, that was all it was, that was all it took. The minute you have that realization, there's almost a laughter, and then someone comes in or something makes a shift. Because with soulmate, I'm thinking of soul tribe as well, so it could be friendships or bringing your tribe in. But for some of you guys, I feel like with soulmate, and it could be like a partner, like a divine partner, and they weren't coming in because there was a paradigm you were still on or still connected to, so you weren't in the same frequency. But this, you jumping off that treadmill, whatever it is, shifts you into a different frequency, and this person comes in. And I think you've done a lot of work on yourself, which is really, really beautiful. Because the way I tap into you feel very present. Really, really present. And I think Spirit's going to be around you guiding this, because I think this was always going to be a moment that created this shift. The back of the deck, we have light beings. That's where I was saying that. And it's like the stars, like Spirit's guiding you. Yeah. So pile number 2, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pile 3, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance your spirit guides and spirit team have for you over the next 4 months. As you know, the next 4 months are going to be quite transitional. You know, when we go into autumn, when we go into the fall months, no matter what part of the hemisphere I tend to see collectively, there's such a shift, and it's usually a time of releasing. And going into hibernation for a lot of people, and yeah, that's why I wanted to bring the guidance over the next 4 months, just to see what comes through, and what messages your spirit guides have for you. So you guys chose the smoky quartz. I'm going to start with tarot, and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. Guidance for my pile number 3s. Guidance for my pile number 3s. What message and guidance do my pile number 3s need to hear the next 4 months? We have the 7 of Swords. What guidance do my pile number 3s need to hear over the next? We have the Empress. What guidance do my pile number 3s need to hear over the next 4 months? The cards are falling. Sorry guys, it was distracting me. Pile number 3. What guidance do my pile number 3s need to hear over the next? Okay, we have the 4 of Pentacles. What guidance do my pile number 3s need to hear over the next 4 months? 10 of Swords. And the back of the deck, we have the 7 of Wands. Okay, that's quite interesting. Seven of Swords, the Empress, the 4 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Swords, and then the 7 of Wands at the back of the deck. What's going on? Your peace is going to be a priority, and you're being called. This is a message of guidance for your peace to be the moment. It needs to be pushed to the forefront over the next 4 months, is what I'm trying to say. Your peace needs to be the priority. Your peace needs to be pushed to the forefront. And I see you very much so set in boundaries. Like, I don't know why I'm being shown somebody, like, I'm creating a crystal, but for some reason they're almost showing it to me like this crystal can grow, and there's like direct sunlight coming through, and I've made sure the land is like nice and smooth. I put this crystal in the middle, and then I keep being shown like little kind of fences, and I'm putting these tiny little fences, but they're like stick fences and they're small, and I'm putting them around this crystal. for it to harness the energy and activate that energy within. But it's almost like people used to have access to this crystal, or people used to use this crystal and mishandle this crystal, so they're trying to come in through these fences to try and get it. And I keep being shown that crystal, then the crystal being you, by the way, being topped up and topped up and topped up by the sun, so it's almost like bringing guidance through, bringing energy through, and that crystal just being very focused on being topped up. But it's like people are wanting to it is almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen this episode of Friends, but I'm going to explain it because that's what I'm being shown. But there's a scene where Monica makes these like candies, like hard candy and stuff, and she kind of gives them to all the little, like all her neighbors and stuff, and she's making it homemade, and then all the neighbors like get obsessed with the candy because it's like really nice, and they start like waiting outside of her door, and they start actually being really rude, and she's a bit of a people pleaser, so she keeps making the candy to the point that she's exhausted, and it's like not good enough. Like they're still shouting and being mean and like, you know, trying to get their like hand on it and stuff, and she's really being worked up. And then Chandler comes home and he like tells them all to go away, and they're not having any, they've ruined it, because she's getting so frustrated. And that's what I'm being shown. Like I feel you guys have such beautiful hearts and you have such a beautiful light, and I think that you give so much. And I also think as well, people rely on the way you forgive and the way you give like an understanding. Like I feel like you really respect people, and I think you see people's light, and I think you see people's wounds, and you have that beautiful understanding of like, well, they were going through something and they you know, they're forgiving me or whatever it is. But I feel like you guys have already been doing this, where you've been establishing boundaries and pouring into yourself, because that's where these little wooden fences are coming in. And I feel like while you're topping up yourself in this period, because I feel like you may have been drawn to another pile, and I feel like the other pile you might have been drawn to is pile 1. It doesn't have to be, but there's this activation of like maybe you understanding your worth, or you guys focusing on self and using your energy for self. While that's happening, I see people around you, it's almost like, oh, they're leveling up, oh, they're putting their energy into this, oh, I used to borrow money off them all the time, but they're not letting me borrow money because they're putting it towards this, or I used to, you know, maybe be mean to them, but then I'd say sorry and they'd forgive me, but now I'm trying to come back because I can see they're focusing on something and I'm trying to apologize, but they're not forgiving me, and I'm getting frustrated and I'm getting angry and I'm getting annoyed. I see this person up leveling, I'm getting annoyed at it because it's like I'm losing access. And that's where I'm being shown that frenzy where they were being mean to Monica when she was making sweets, because it's like they liked them so much but they didn't respect her and they were being rude to her. So it's like, I think you're going through a shedding process over the next 4 months. That's why you chose the smoky quartz, because that is a clearing, and I think it's going to bring to the forefront people that didn't have your best interest in mind, and that they wanted maybe energy from you, but they didn't respect when you were stepping into that Empress energy and you were having those boundaries and you were using that energy for yourself. Like your spare time, like you need spare time for you. You need spare time to pour into you. You need spare time to just enjoy yourself. That extra bit of money that you have, that's not to give to everybody else. Like maybe you want to save that up, or maybe you want to put that on your set, like use that to better yourself in some sort of way. You know, you could be going through like a purge or healing and you need to withdraw that energy for self, and it's like maybe in the past you'd withdraw but you'd also still be there for everybody else, but in that moment it's like, actually no, I just need silence and I need people to respect that. And I think it's going to, because I'm being trying to carpet being shaken and like dust coming out of it, it's like there's a cleanse and a purge with you stepping into that energy. And I think people that might not want that shift to happen, it's almost like they're trying to cling for dear life, but I do feel like there's a transformation coming in. And I don't think, you know, with the 7 of Wands coming back, like in the actual 7 of Wands, it's that person and he's kind of like stood and he's defending himself from all the people that are then attacking him, but they were praising him before. And if you look in this card, that the swords are like, not the swords, the wands are like below, but they can't touch because she's on this meditation mat and she's like centered with that portal energy. So I almost feel like you're coming into the next 4 months an inner sense of peace, and not feeling like you have to bend over backwards for people, and finding that sense of peace. And I feel like people may be trying to pull you off that, or pull you off that pedestal, because as you can see with the Seven of Wands, she is above those ones. So I feel like people may be trying to bring you back, or maybe when you're making certain decisions for yourself with this Four of Pentacles and keeping your energy to a minimum with other people, people aren't liking that, and I think it's going to show you some people's true colors. But I think that in itself is going to have you be firmer with your boundaries. But I do think maybe there may be one or two people you might have to let go of over the next 4 months, but I also feel like the right people are going to really understand that and really going to respect that, because I see you setting things in stone. That's why I felt like you could be drawn to pile number 1 as well. Could it be pile number 2? They were paired in something though, but it could be whichever one. But I almost feel like there's something you're setting in stone, or you're making a shift in your energy, and your focus is internally. Your focus is on you. And I feel like a lot of you've had your focus on other people a lot in your life, and you've forgiven a lot of people and given the benefit of the doubt. I do feel like someone you're putting your foot down and going, I don't want to accept that apology. I don't think it's genuine, and you've actually given me the same 4 apologies and you've never changed, so I think I'm gonna have to step away. Because there is a feeling, the Seven of Swords makes me, when I say alarmed, I don't mean alarmed in the sense of, oh my god, be careful. I don't feel like danger. It's more so there's someone that was taking you for granted or not respecting you, and that's where like your energy's coming in, like Chandler from Friends, shutting the door and be like, there we are, you've ruined it, then you're not getting any candy, and shutting the door. Like that's what I'm being shown. But there's someone particular that is gonna be annoyed at this focus and this energy that you're focusing on self. I see you as well seeing things a little bit clearer over the next 4 months, and I think it may be due to you maybe doing inner work and in clearing and seeing things in a different light. It could be that, but I think some people are not gonna like that shift, or you putting your foot, I see you telling somebody straight up putting your foot down, and somebody not liking it, and it's been a long time coming, I'm hearing. Because I think whoever this person is, you've given a lot of grace and been incredibly kind. Because I think you see things from a higher perspective. And the thing about seeing things from a higher perspective and a spiritual perspective is we also need to remember that we are here to be human beings, and that yes, we can see from a soul perspective what we've learned karmically with that person, and yes, we can see from a soul perspective that their inner child was mirroring my inner child, and so on. We also need to remember in the physical, we are human beings, we're individuals that do deserve respect. We need to remember that, put the boundaries in, and be like, yes, spiritually I have love, but this is where I'm gonna have to dip, this is where I'm gonna have to let go, because you don't respect who I am from this more 3D perspective, and that in itself helps us create those boundaries and not have our energy taken away from us. And I see you guys doing that, and the person that you could be doing that with could be somebody that benefited or even molded you, because it could be like a parent or a grandparent or someone like that. They could have molded you to be someone that just accepts and allows things to happen. So you stepping up into that, it might be a bit threatening to them, or it could be a partner. But I see you guys, it's almost like I've been molded, or I've been made to look at things from that higher perspective, because I've had to put up with it. But there's something coming in where it's like, no, I don't have to put up with it. You're being very firm with something that is causing a little bit of friction. Yeah, we have the third eye chakra, and like I said, you're seeing things for truly what they are. It is safe for you to see the energy of love in all its forms, such as angels, auras, and visions. Sorry for my throat, guys. I don't know whether my body's been, because of my hormones, the PMDD, I don't know whether that is making my body stressed and causing a sore throat, but it keeps happening on each side of their cycle, and I keep getting frequent sore throats with it, which I actually was looking into it, and a lot of women have that with the menstrual thing. So I think it's that, but then I don't know whether it's happening just because it takes a really big toll on my body. but it's causing a sore throat, and yeah, that's why my voice might have changed recently. I've been a bit croaky because it's been happening. It's fine today, that's why I'm filming today, but I'm starting to get croaky now, but I'm at the end of the reading, so it's okay. Pile number 3. Pile number 3, please, Spirit Guides. Pile number 3. Guidance and messages from pile number 3, Spirit Guides, over the next 3 months. Mediumship. You have the natural ability to connect with departed loved ones. Pile number 3, please, Spirit Guides. We have Archangel Raphael. The healing angel is with you, supporting your healing work. And the back of the deck, we have past life issue. Situation has a basis in one of your previous lifetimes. Ask your angels to help you remember, release, learn, and heal from your past experiences. So whether it's from childhood or whether it's from, you know, a lot of the times when things happen in childhood, sometimes it's karmically, and it's come from our past lives as well. But I think that you guys have put into bed something that would have been a trait that you've had for some time that's allowed people to pull and take from you. And now you're aligning with that Empress energy and you're asserting those boundaries. I feel like that's where you might see a little bit of a pushback from people. Don't allow them to push you back. Be very firm in your energy. I feel like sometimes people have made you feel like you can't stand up for yourself, or you can't be feeling yourself, or you can't feel empowered. That's your birthright. And that's what you're finally realizing and stepping into. And with the mediumship ability being in the middle, and then Archangel Raphael, I do feel like Spirit's been really guiding you and helping you stand in your power. I also do feel like there's an ancestor in your family line that's been helping you really voice your opinion and put your foot down. Whether it's with, you know, friends, partners, business associates. But for some reason, I do feel like there's a family connection here. Or maybe it started with, you know, home and family, but I see you seeing somebody's true colors while you are, because I see you feeling very good and someone's trying to poke at it, and that's why it's taken over the reading, because I think you're going to know what you're doing and what you're focusing on, but somebody's poking or trying to gain access to you again, or gain more access than they have, or hold you back where they felt comfortable with you being. And that's where you're being called to be observant. But I almost feel like you're going to see somebody's moves or somebody's true nature before they even do it. Like, you're able to see through them. And it's going to frustrate said person. Pile number 3. And if they do react in a way where they might say things to you, I'm not saying they will, but if somebody does, remember to observe. Because a lot of the time when people are mean, and people are projecting, they're projecting their internal world. So whatever they're projecting on to you, if they do, or if they have already, that's how they're feeling inside. That's how they feel about themselves inside. Or if they're trying to manipulate something, you'll be able to see. People tell on themselves. If you sit back and listen and allow people to speak, they'll tell on themselves. I've noticed that. Because I know all you ever hear is me talking, because this is my job here. But in everyday life, I'm very quiet and observant. So I tend to observe people, and I tend to find the people that are loud and talk a lot and try to gain control over people. I tend to find that usually the most insecure, and they need people to validate what they're feeling. That's what I tend to find. So whoever, if this person does try to say anything to you, really listen to what they say, because I think that's going to help you see through them. Pile number 3. You may even come into money or pass something, or you may just be feeling yourself, looking good, or putting effort into yourself. There's a shift, 100%. Pile number 3. Of course, we have let your light shine. So something's happening where you're activating your own internal energy out. That's why the sun was pouring into the crystal and it was absorbing it, and it was expanding. But there was that pyramid around it of protection. Someone's either trying to stop that from happening or trying to gain access to it. And that's why you're having to put your foot down. And whoever this person is, I feel like in the past they've tried to like silence you, or they've tried to dim your light, or they've tried to make you feel bad about yourself. They've been intimidated by something that you do or something that you activate within you, and I see you activating it even stronger, and this person's almost getting intimidated by it. Yeah, so that's what I have for you, pile number 3. It was just very focused on this one particular person because I feel like Spirit want you to be aware of it, and know that it's nothing to worry about. Like, that power's in you. A lot of the times when people want us to not see that power in ourselves, they try to tap away at like fears or anything to keep us accessing our own inner light, and that's where you're being called to hold on to it and shine it out. That's where that message came through. So I really hope that that was helpful for you guys. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if it resonated. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching.